All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're unpacking a huge controversy, one that really strikes at the very heart of the world's largest democracy. We're talking about an explosive accusation of mass vote theft that has put India's main opposition party on a collision course with its own electoral institutions.
So, here's the question that really kicked off this whole firestorm. Is it even possible? Can you actually steal 100,000 votes from just one district? I mean, that number is just staggering, right? And it's the absolute core of a very, very serious allegation.
So let's first break down the accusation itself. What exactly is being claimed here? Because it sent some major shockwaves through the country's political scene. Now, you've got the leader of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi, coming out and calling the evidence his party gathered an atom bomb. An atom bomb? He's talking about a large-scale criminal fraud. You know, when you use words like that, atom bomb, criminal fraud, that's not just your everyday political talk. It's meant to show just how serious this is. It's basically signaling that for them, this is a fight for their very existence. And this is that number, right at the center of it all. The opposition is claiming that in just one single area, Bengaluru, Mahadevapura, over 100,000 fake votes were just added to the electoral lists. That is a massive, massive figure for one segment. Okay, so how do they say this whole thing even worked? Well, the opposition lays out this 5-step process they claim was used. First, you've got duplicate voters, so the same person listed more than once. Second, invalid addresses, literally voters registered to places that don't even exist. Then you have these bulk voters, like a crazy number of people all registered to a single house. Fourth, messed up photos on voter IDs. And finally, they claim Form 6, which is what you use to register as a new voter, was basically hijacked to stuff the voter lists.
But the claim goes even deeper, and this part is absolutely crucial. The opposition isn't just saying some random people committed fraud. No, they are alleging that the Election Commission of India, the ECI, the very group in charge of running fair elections, is in on it. They're talking about a choreographed process, one designed specifically to help the ruling party by messing with the voter data itself.
So, of course, the Election Commission had something to say about these pretty explosive charges. How did they respond? Well, the ECI's response was fast, and it was forceful. In their official statement, they just flat out dismissed the allegations. They called them absurd and part of a worn-out script that they say the opposition pulls out from time to time. They're not holding back here. It's a very direct, very dismissive rebuttal. And this puts us at a complete standoff. On one side, you have the opposition claiming criminal fraud and saying the ECI is hiding the real data. And on the other side, the ECI is calling the whole thing absurd and throwing down a challenge. They've pretty much said, look, if you actually believe this, stop holding press conferences, file a formal sworn declaration under the official rules so we can start an actual investigation. And then the Election Commission hits back with its own killer question. They basically say, okay, hold on. If these voter lists are so fraudulent, so completely fake, then why is your own party's government, in the state of Karnataka, using that exact same list for its official statewide caste census right now? It's a really pointed question, right? It's designed to make you go, that's a good point. The ECI also brings up a bit of history to back up their side. They point to a really similar situation back in 2018. Another Congress leader made claims about errors in the voter lists, and that whole thing went all the way to the Supreme Court. In the end, the court dismissed the case after the ECI explained its process. So there's a precedent here, which definitely adds another layer to this whole dispute. So if we pull the lens back a bit from the he said, she said, what does all this really mean? This is about way more than just one election. It's a debate that's got India standing at a kind of democratic crossroads. And what's come out of this clash are two totally different stories for the Indian public to believe. From the opposition's point of view, this is a systematic, planned attempt to destroy Indian democracy and steal elections. But if you ask the ruling party, they'll tell you it's a classic sore loser tactic. Just a baseless attack to make people lose faith in a fair system after an election loss. And you should know, this isn't just a political shouting match anymore. The whole issue of how clean the voter lists are has now landed in front of the highest court in the country.
The Supreme Court is actually looking into a separate case about how voter lists are revised, and they're asking their own tough questions about how transparent the process is for deleting names. This just shows you that these concerns are being taken very seriously at the highest judicial level.
And that, right there, is the fundamental deadlock. You've got the opposition saying, give us the raw data. Let us see it. And the Election Commission is saying, no. If you're serious, file an official, sworn complaint, and then we'll investigate. So for India's voters, where does the truth actually lie? Is it buried in some data that hasn't been released? Or is it waiting on a formal declaration that has yet to be made? That's the big question. And the answer? Well, it's going to be a huge deal for the future of trust in India's elections.